Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to sift through complex source material, find the core ideas, and help you get genuinely well-informed.
And today, we're really digging into the architecture of thought itself. We're focusing on Chapter 7 from Dainesi's Linguistic Anthropology, specifically on conceptual metaphors.
Right, and the mission here is, well, it's about taking metaphor out of just, poetry class.
Exactly. We want to put it right where the research says it belongs, as a fundamental part of how we think, how cognition actually works. We're looking at how this one thing, metaphor, organizes pretty much every abstract idea we have.
And it's not just abstract ideas in philosophy, is it? The source material kicks off with this really striking quote from Timothy Leary: "Science is all metaphor."
Yeah.
That immediately tells you, okay, this isn't just about flowery language. If science, our most logical system, relies on it.
Then it has to be core to cognition, a necessity, not just an option.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really interesting, is that this field, cognitive linguistics, which feels quite modern, its core insight actually goes way back.
Oh.
Yeah, the chapter connects it directly to early linguistic anthropology. Think Boas, Sapir, Worf. They already saw metaphor as this basic cognitive force, shaping how we build meaning, language reflecting the mind's structure.
Okay, so let's get into the basics then. Let's unpack it. Where did this whole concept of metaphor even start?
Well, the term itself, we trace it back to Aristotle. He coined metaphor in Greek. It literally means something like beyond to carry.
Carrying meaning beyond. Okay.
Exactly. He used it to explain how we get a handle on abstract concepts, things like life, by mapping them onto concrete things we can understand, like, say, a stage. You can't really point to life, but you can point to a stage.
Makes sense. So when we break down a specific metaphor in language, there are these three parts. The example used is the professor is a snake.
Right. So first you have the topic. That's the main thing you're talking about. The professor.
Thing you want to understand or describe.
Precisely. Then there's the vehicle. That's the secondary thing you choose to help explain the topic, often something concrete. Here, it's the snake.
And when you put them together,
You get the ground. And this is crucial. The ground isn't just the literal meaning, professor plus snake. It's the new meaning that's created when you project the connotations of the vehicle, slyness, danger, maybe slipperiness, onto the topic, the professor.
So it's about the associated ideas, not the dictionary definition.
Exactly. And this idea that metaphors for thinking, not just fancy talk, it wasn't only Aristotle. The source mentions St. Thomas Aquinas arguing way back that spiritual truths have to be put metaphorically.
How so?
Because human knowledge starts with the senses. So to grasp something beyond the senses, you need the likeness of material things. You start with what you can touch or see.
Interesting.
And then there was Giambattista Vico, who called this capacity poetic logic. He argued we're sort of hardwired to judge the unknown by what we know, what's familiar, and right there. Metaphor is our brain's shortcut.
And Vico apparently hinted at something more systematic, too, that the two parts like life and stage, they start to imply each other.
Yes, exactly. It becomes this richer two-way street, which actually brings us nicely to the big shift in the late 1970s.
Okay.
For ages, metaphor was just rhetoric. Then Howard Polio's research team did this, well, frankly, amazing study. They found English speakers use, on average, get this, 3,000 new novel metaphors every week.
3,000 new ones, plus idioms.
Plus around 7,000 established idioms. So yeah, something like 10,000 metaphorical expressions a week per person.
Wow. Okay, that kind of blows the metaphor's rare idea out of the water.
Completely. It proves a metaphor wasn't some linguistic exception. It was central to how we talk every single day. And if we use it that much...
It must be how we think.
Right. And that finding really set the stage for George Lakoff and Mark Johnson and their Conceptual Metaphor Theory, CMT.
Okay, CMT. What's the core idea there?
Their big claim is that abstract concepts aren't really standalone things in our minds. They are basically metaphorical extensions built from concrete concepts. And these are organized into systems, these conceptual metaphors.
So moving beyond just John is a snake.
Right. They look at a bigger pattern. The target domain is the abstract concept you're trying to understand, like people.
Okay.
The source domain is the more concrete concept that provides the structure for understanding it, like animals.
Ah, so the formula is people are animals.
Exactly. That's the conceptual metaphor. And then the specific sentences, we actually say, John is a snake, my boss is a bear, she's a sly fox. Those are just the linguistic metaphors. They're instances of that one underlying conceptual mapping.
So it shows it's not random creativity, it's systematic. It's how our minds are wired.
Deeply systematic. And we even see this reliance when language seems to break down. Remember Chomsky's example? Colorless green ideas sleep furiously.
Yeah, he used it to show grammar works, even without meaning.
Right. But later research found that if you actually ask people to make sense of that sentence, they do. They find a metaphorical meaning.
So even when literal meaning fails, we default to metaphor.
It strongly suggests that, yeah, maybe metaphor is the default setting, and strictly literal language is the specialized tool we developed later. Without metaphor, discussing anything beyond simple objects would be incredibly hard.
Okay, so connecting this back to the body, the embodied mind idea, metaphor seems tied up with mental images, physical feelings.
Yeah, the source has good examples. Like when kids hear the branch of the tree was her pony, they instantly picture a girl riding a branch. The metaphor creates a physical image. But the really key point is this idea of intersensory knowing. It's not just visual.
What does that mean, intersensory?
Well, get this.
Yeah.
The research shows that even people who are congenitally blind, people who've never seen anything,
Yeah.
they can still make appropriate line drawings for metaphorical concepts. They grasp things like a smooth transition using touch, space, sound, and their understanding often matches sighted people's.
Wow. So metaphor isn't just about seeing, it's about sensing in general, perception, sensation.
Exactly. Which leads us to what are called root metaphors.
Root metaphors. Okay, so these are...
These are conceptual metaphors that seem to trace back to really basic universal sensations and perceptions.
Like what? Give us an example.
Well, think about how we talk about thinking itself. Abstract concepts like knowing or ideas constantly draw on vision and light.
Ah, like a flash of insight.
Or a bright mind, a clear argument, a luminous idea. Physical sight becomes the source for mental clarity.
Okay, I see that. What else?
Touching and grasping is another huge one. Look at the history of words for thinking.
Right, you mentioned.
Apprehend an idea. Comes from Latin for to seize. Comprehend means to grasp. Even scrutinize has roots in physically picking through trash to find something.
So thinking is like physically handling something, getting a grip on it.
That's the metaphorical model, yeah. And it's not just English. The source notes modern Hebrew lidpos, to grasp, also means to understand.
Okay.
And in Maori, ke marama te titiro, to see clearly, means understanding. Our abstract thoughts get their names from physical actions.
So as we map all these source domains onto a target domain, like ideas, it gets complex. Sight, grasping, plants, buildings.
Exactly. When a target domain, like ideas, pulls from so many different source domains, it becomes what Lakoff and Johnson called an idealized cognitive model, or ICM.
An ICM. So that's like the whole network of metaphors for one concept.
Pretty much. It's the sum of all the source domains feeding into that one abstract target. And it shows just how complex our concepts really are.
Right. The source had that great blended sentence.
Oh, yeah, the one like, I can see what you mean with that idea, but it has been passé fashion for a while, even though it has deep roots, plants.
Yeah. 3 different source domains, vision, fashion, plants, all blended seamlessly just to talk about one idea.
And the number of source domains feeding into an ICM, that tells us something interesting, too, about culture.
How so?
Well, researchers found that the sheer number of source domains mapping onto a concept seems to reflect how, well, productive or important that concept is in a culture's way of thinking.
So if we count the metaphors for thinking versus love,
we might get a clue about cultural priorities. The comparison mentioned found that English seems to have way more source domains for ideas and thinking than for love.
Suggesting thinking is more cognitively salient in English-speaking cultures?
That's the implication. Maybe we have more ways to talk about smarts and arguments than the nuances of love.
Interesting.
But then they compared English to Italian and found the reverse. The Italian ICM for love was much richer, more source domains than in English, suggesting love is perhaps a more productive concept in Italian culture. It's a neat linguistic window into cultural values.
And apparently neuroscience is catching up with blending theory.
Yeah, the idea there is that when you make a metaphor professor as a snake, your brain essentially treats these 2 distinct neural patterns as one single thing in a third brain area.
Yeah.
You create the blend. Metaphors are just neural circuits linking source and target.
Which helps explain that other idea, the sense implication hypothesis, SIH.
Right. The idea that the 2 parts sort of imply each other. Think about anger. It involves real physical feelings, tension, heat, redness.
Sure.
So we use sensory metaphors. I'm boiling mad. He saw red. She exploded. The physical sensation implies the emotion, and talking about the emotion brings up the sensation.
Okay, so that covers the core of metaphor. But there are related things, right? Like metonymy. How is that different?
Key difference is the relationship. Metaphor links two different conceptual domains: professor, person, and snake, animal. Metonymy uses something within a single domain to stand for the whole domain.
Okay, example.
If you say, we need some new faces around here, face is part of a person, standing for the whole person. It stays within the person domain.
Right. Or the White House decided, meaning the administration.
Exactly. Institution standing for the people inside. And a special type of metonymy is syntactically.
That's the part for whole one.
Yeah. Like saying nice wheels when you mean the whole car. Wheels are part of the car.
Got it. And irony, saying the opposite of what you mean.
Like, oh, I just love being stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
It's another cognitive strategy, highlighting something through contrast. The source notes it develops around puberty, needing that ability to hold opposing ideas.
Right. Now, shifting slightly, gestures. McNeil's work, gestures aren't separate from speech.
No, they're deeply integrated. His idea is that gesticulants' hand movements during speech actually reinforce metaphorical meanings. Speech and gesture are one system.
And there are different types.
Yeah, he talks about 5, but 2 key ones are iconic and metaphoric. Iconic gesticulants physically resemble the thing. Like if you describe bending a branch, you might make a bending motion with your hands.
Okay, that makes sense.
But metaphoric gesticulants are more abstract. The gesture itself becomes a metaphor.
How does that work?
McNeil saw someone talking about the genre of a cartoon, and they held out their hands like they were offering an object.
Offering the genre.
Exactly. They weren't holding the cartoon. The gesture of offering be the abstract concept genre into a metaphorical object you could give or receive. It's instantiating ideas or objects, or maybe ideas are conduits, physically.
Wow. Making the abstract tangible through movement.
Yeah, which connects directly to anthropomorphism, using the human body as a source domain for everything else. This is fundamental.
You see it everywhere. Bowels of the earth.
Eye of a needle, foot of a mountain, arm of the sea. Our own bodies provide the basic map for understanding the world outside us.
And cultures apply this systematically. The source mentioned the Batamaliba in West Africa.
Right, naming parts of their houses using body terms. The door is the mouth, the supports are legs or joints, the house is a body.
And the Western Apache example with cars.
Naming car parts with body terms too. Chin and jaw for the bumper, stomach for the gas tank, partly because cars took the role horses used to have, so the car became this new sort of body in their world.
So putting it all together, these conceptual metaphors, they build up a kind of cultural groupthink.
Yeah, the shared metaphors shape shared understanding and even behavior. The example given is, love is a sweet taste in English.
Sweetheart, honey, honeymoon.
Exactly. And that cognitive metaphor correlates with actual cultural practices, like giving chocolates or sweets on Valentine's Day. The way we think about love influences the rituals around it.
And this isn't just folk wisdom. Science uses it too.
Absolutely. Scientists need metaphors to talk about things they can't directly see or touch. Atoms leap, waves undulate, information flows. Metaphor gives coherence to the unseen, whether it's in proverbs or physics equations.
So wrapping up, metaphor isn't just a sideshow in language.
Not at all. It seems to be the essential connector. It links our senses, our bodies, our thoughts, our culture, even our science. It's arguably the bedrock of how humans make sense of anything abstract, the foundation of understanding.
So a final thought to leave everyone with. Think about those everyday phrases we use that come straight from, say, Greek mythology.
Yeah, like when you talk about someone's Achilles heel, or a Herculean task, or opening Pandora's box.
You're not just using a cliche.
No, you're tapping into ancient stories, ancient conceptual structures. You're unconsciously layering this deep metaphysical meaning onto everyday situations. That's the power of conceptual metaphor, carrying cultural wisdom across thousands of years in just a few words.
And a really powerful idea to end on.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the source material. We hope you now see metaphors working everywhere, shaping how you think and how culture functions.
This has been a last-minute lecture production.